In the subway, a baby is crying very loudly and bothering everyone. One passenger finally loses his temper and starts yelling at the mother, which only makes the baby cry even more. A man watching this puts on his earbuds to block out the noise. At that moment, his ex-girlfriend calls him, but he ignores it. At the next station, the man gets off the train and receives another call. He answers this time and tells his ex-girlfriend that he's on his way to work. She tells him she's at the hospital and that a doctor has confirmed she's pregnant, so she wants to know what he thinks. He is so shocked by the news that he bumps into someone and drops his phone, missing half of what she says. Suddenly, he has an asthma attack and has to use his inhaler to calm down. He tells her that he'll take some time off for her, but she says not to bother because she has already made her decision. When he asks what she means, his phone loses signal and the call ends. The man then walks into a corridor with a sign that points to exit 8, and there is only one other person nearby. After passing another sign for exit 0, he turns a corner and is shocked to find himself back at the same sign with the same person. For now, he keeps moving, but he ends up in the same place again. Confused, he looks at the other man and doesn't notice that the back of the sign says, "Turn back 3 times. He keeps walking and once again returns to the same spot. This time, he turns around and is startled when the other man awkwardly smiles at him. He runs away in fear, but the same thing happens, so he turns around and runs the other way. Sadly, this also leads him back to the same place. The lost man sees an emergency alarm on the wall and presses it, but it doesn't work. Then he tries the 3 doors in the corridor, but they are all locked. When he looks at a poster on the wall, he is shocked to see blood dripping from it. He steps back, only to feel blood falling on his head from sign 8. Terrified, he starts running again. After seeing the other man using his phone, he finds a sign for exit 1, which means the corridor has finally changed. Another sign nearby gives him instructions. It says he must watch for anomalies. If he sees one, he must turn back immediately. If he doesn't see any, he can keep walking forward. The real exit is 8. The lost man keeps walking and returns to the same place, but the blood is gone and the sign doesn't say to turn back anymore. He realizes that must have been the anomaly. When the other man appears again, the lost man tries to talk to him, but he is ignored. He keeps walking and has another asthma attack when he sees sign 0 again. After using his inhaler, he continues moving. This time, he decides to watch carefully for anomalies. He takes pictures of every part of the corridor with his phone, including the posters, the other man's face, the emergency alarm, every door, and even the photo booth in the lockers around the corner. The last poster has the number 1 on it, so he realizes that the numbers can go up. But when he checks his phone, all the pictures are covered in yellow static and are useless. So, he decides to trust his memory and keeps walking while carefully checking everything around him. When he turns around, he sees the other guy smiling at him and realizes this is an anomaly. So, he turns back. The creepy guy starts following him. And after seeing him a few times, the lost man runs in fear until he trips and falls around the corner. Now, the other guy is standing calmly while looking at his phone. The lost man takes his water bottle from his bag and drinks while walking. Soon, he notices that the sign says 2, which means he is making progress. After that, he returns to the same spot and checks all the details again. Everything seems normal and he gets ready to move forward. But then he hears crying inside a locker. He opens it and sees a baby, so he quickly closes it again. Suddenly, babies start crying in every locker at the same time. Since this is an anomaly, the lost man runs back until he finds the sign that says 3. When he reaches the same spot again, he starts checking for anomalies while struggling to breathe. Once he feels safe, he takes out his inhaler but accidentally drops it. At that moment, he notices that all the eyes in the posters are moving and following him. He quickly picks up his inhaler and starts going back. The eyes keep following him until he leaves the corridor, and soon he finds sign number 4. Back in the main area, he checks everything and sees no anomalies, so he moves forward until he finds sign number 5. He repeats the process, but while checking for anomalies, he gets a call from his ex-girlfriend. When he answers, she asks if he has made a decision about the situation. The lost man is so distracted that he doesn't hear the babies crying in the background. He tells her about what happened in the subway, saying that nobody helped the mother and that he feels guilty for ignoring her too. He cries as he admits that he doesn't think he can be a good father. The lost man keeps walking and tells his ex he will see her soon, not noticing that she is right behind him. When he reaches the sign, it says 0 again, proving that the call was an anomaly and his progress has been reset. He has no choice but to start over, and this time the main area has turned yellow. Angry, he throws his bag on the ground, but then he has another asthma attack. He falls, throws up, and collapses. For a few seconds, he can only move and scream in anger. Eventually, he calms down and reminds himself not to give up. He leaves his bag behind and turns around, walking until he finds sign number 1 again. The next time he reaches the spot, he sees a young boy instead of the other guy, so he thinks it is an anomaly and turns back. However, the sign shows 0 again, which confuses him. When he turns around, he sees the little boy and notices a scar on his cheek. He tries talking to him, but the boy runs away. The lost man follows him to the main area and sees the child pointing at the other guy. A flashback shows that the other guy used to be a normal person who also got trapped in this strange place. When he found the child, he took his hand and brought him along so they could try to escape together. Although the boy never said a word back then, the other person walking nearby was a high school girl. After passing sign 5, the girl finally spoke, saying she was also lost and wanted to team up. The man agreed, and while they searched for anomalies, the girl wondered if they were dead and if this was purgatory. She creepily asked him if he felt guilty about something, then laughed and said she was just joking. Then she asked if the man really wanted to leave and invited him to stay, saying his daily routine was pathetic. Suddenly, she started repeating that phrase again and again before freezing for a few seconds, then snapping and speaking in a strange voice. Realizing she was the anomaly, the man and the boy ran back and found sign number 6. In the main area, the girl was walking again while they checked for anomalies. The child stared at a door with a knob in the middle that hadn't been there before, but he still didn't speak. The man didn't notice the knob and took the child forward, only to find the sign back on 0. Angry, the man ripped off the instruction sign and threw it on the ground as he had a breakdown. After calming down, he apologized to the child and they started over. In the main area, they found the stairs to the exit and the man happily ran toward them. But the kid kept pulling to stop him until he fell and scraped his cheek. The man asked him to come along, but the boy refused to move, so the man ran up the stairs alone. Meanwhile, the child walked back and found sign number 1, proving that the stairs were an anomaly. When he reached the usual spot, he found the man walking with a cold look on his face. The kid tried to pull his hand, but it didn't work, showing that the man had become part of the loop. In the present, the lost man looks at the 0 and realizes the boy isn't an anomaly, so he asks him to come along. They reach the main area and the child points at the other guy, making the lost man realize that he isn't a real person anymore. The boy then looks at the back of the sign, which says, "Turn back again." But he still doesn't speak. The lost man doesn't see this and thinks there are no anomalies, so they keep walking and end up at sign 0 again. Without hesitation, they start over, and this time the man notices that the picture in one of the posters has changed. He says there is an anomaly and wants to go back, but the kid keeps walking ahead. The man follows him and is surprised to find sign number 1, so the boy seems to know what he is doing. During the next loop, the man doesn't notice anything, but the child keeps looking at the door with the knob in the middle. This helps the lost man notice it too, and together they turn back until they find sign number 2. When they enter the main area again, the lights go out. The lost man turns on his phone's flashlight and is shocked by a sudden noise. It turns out the ventilation lid has fallen, and blood is now dripping from the hole. The lost man turns around and almost bumps into the other guy. A rat runs past his feet, and the baby's cries grow louder. The man lifts his flashlight to look at the sign and is horrified to see several rats with human body parts attached to their backs. One rat has a human mouth that suddenly screams at him, scaring him so much that he drops his phone. Thankfully, the boy finds the phone, and together they run back. Finally, they turn the corner, and the lights return to normal when they find sign number 3. In the next loop, they see a cat running away, and then a woman appears where it was standing. The boy speaks for the first time, calling her mama, and tries to run to her, but the lost man understands it is an anomaly and holds him back. The woman touches her belly and asks the man what he wants to do, while he struggles to control the crying child, who eventually faints. After they reach sign number 4, the man sits down and waits for the boy to wake up. When he does, the man asks what happened. The boy explains that he once separated from his mother on purpose because he wanted her to search for him. The man admits he did the same thing to his own mother when he was young. As they talk about their childhoods, they realize that neither of them ever knew their fathers. They return to the main area, and the boy quickly speaks when he sees that the number 8 on the sign is upside down. They turn back and pass sign number 5 to enter the next loop. This time, one of the doors is open, so they carefully look inside. In the darkness, the man sees himself on the subway, ignoring the crying baby and the angry passenger. Feeling ashamed, he shuts the door and takes the boy back so they can reach sign number 6. Before moving on, the man asks the boy what he wants to do when they finally get out. The boy says he wants to eat pizza, but the man does not know how to answer the same question for himself. Seeing that the man is upset, the child gives him a small shell for protection. In the next loop, while they are checking everything carefully, they suddenly hear a loud alarm. A huge wave of brown water rushes into the corridor. The man starts running, but the boy trips and falls. When the man turns back to help him, the water covers them both. Then the man sees a dream. He and his ex are standing on a beach while their future child plays in the water. They talk about the pregnancy, and she tells him she believes he will protect their son. The boy brings him a shell for protection, and the lost man realizes that this child is the same boy from the corridor. He hugs him tightly and plays with him in the water. Back in the corridor, the man rises from the water with the boy in his arms. Together they grab onto the sign while the water rushes around them. It pulls the lost man away until he loses his grip. A few moments later, the boy wakes up on the floor. The water is gone and has left a lot of debris behind, but the lost man is nowhere to be seen. Since the water was an anomaly, the child walks back and finds sign number 7. He keeps moving and doesn't notice anything different in the main area, so he walks forward and disappears around the corner. After that, the lost man appears again. He also doesn't see anything unusual, so he moves ahead until he finally finds sign number 8 next to the stairs. After looking at the shell, he starts going down, and soon he is surrounded by normal people again. His phone has signal now, and he uses it to buy a drink. Then he calls his ex and promises that he is on his way to the hospital to be with her. When the man gets back on the subway, the baby starts crying again and the passenger begins yelling at the mother. But this time, the lost man turns around and tries to help.